Speak on it, Rev. Speak on it.
This week, we met with members of the Justice Department around the issues of voter rights. It is our argument that since New York has several counties that are voter rights counties, that nothing could be done that would affect or impact in a broad level voters without pre-clearance from the Justice Department under the name of the Voter Rights Act. What does that mean? That means that you cannot do as was done. Only use 58% of the voting booths without pre-clearance. You cannot consolidate election districts without pre-clearance. You cannot allow things that would impact voters without pre-clearance. What does the voting booths have to do with it, Reverend Sharpton? The fact is that if at my site that I vote at in Brooklyn, there are usually only 4 election districts. And those election districts are cut down to 1. That may mean that there'll be a longer line for me to vote. If I choose to vote before going to work and see a longer line, and I say, well, I'll be late to work, that may have stopped me from voting, which impacts my voting rights. These are the things that we've asked the Justice Department to look into, because you cannot have such broad and sweeping situations go unaddressed. This is beyond who wins or loses the race. What we said that day is that we will pursue this whether green or for red had won the recount. Wasn't even a recount, it was the first count. Or it was the stop the double count.
Speak on it.
Because we've had now a problem with the Board of Elections for the last 2 mayor races. The runoff that was announced with Messenger in the last race. Now the mess in this race. How many times does the Board of Elections get a pass before we stop and change how elections are done in this city? Isn't it interesting how they talk about how effective and efficient the city runs in everything but the area of democracy? How do you have a so-called democratic city based in a so-called democratic nation, and the only thing that keeps breaking down is democracy, and no one thinks that's important enough to stop and fix? It's almost like it becomes controversial to raise voter rights. Some people don't know, well, why would y'all be divisive? How is correcting the process being divisive if the idea of the nation is democracy? Other than you trying to operate without dealing with a democratic process, and we're dividing your personal playground.